Welcome back to the Nursing Post podcast with Ashley and Rosa. In this episode, we're going to discuss black market plastic surgery. And of course, our goal is always to inform and to start conversation.
So, of course, this is an interesting topic. I always love anything that has to deal with, the black market or conspiracy theories or things like that. So this is really right up my alley. But just plastic surgery in general, people's definitions of beauty, everybody has an opinion.
Of course.
It's just like a fad, or a trend, or
there are absolutely
it's changed over the decades, period.
Absolutely.
And I remember I used to watch the show with Heidi Klum, and she used to say, one day you're in and then the next day you're out. And that's pretty much how fashion and beauty trends are. Mm-hmm. So I remember telling my age, when we were kids watching TV commercials or reading, teen magazines, what the ideal woman looked like. I remember it at one point being Twiggy, and then who was like very skinny, like a size 0. And, then Marilyn Monroe, who was this voluptuous woman who had curves, and, you had to have blonde hair and blue eyes, and you had to be tall. And that's just what you see on TV, what you see in magazines. And then you fast forward to 2021 and 2022, and the whole definition of beauty has changed. Now everybody's getting Botox and trying to make their lips fuller and having mommy makeovers, and everybody wants a Brazilian butt lift, or, wants a Kardashian ass. And it's just like so totally different from how we grew up. And it's just like, does it ever stop?
No.
Does it ever end?
No, and I don't think it's going to. I think it's very much, right now the fad is big booties, just to put it mildly. Now they, of course,
he's like Sir Mix-a-Lot. Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Yeah, that's exactly. I was thinking that
he loves big butts, and he can't deny. And maybe he was onto something way before these last 10 years. I mean, just saying, the song has been out for a while.
It has been, but it goes to show you, because even that song is about a trend of people wanting these very,
voluptuous.
I don't want to say shapeless, but people who don't have as many curves. And he's like, no, I want you thick. Now being thick is a good thing, as to where before, part of my childhood growing up, it was like, oh no, like you want it to be this skinny little rail where you didn't have a lot of curves and things like that.
Like I said, everything changes. It's crazy. So the reason I'm doing statistics from 2019 is because we all know that in 2020, 2021, a lot of elective procedures were canceled, and they could consider plastic surgery like one of those elective procedures. So in 2019, 11.36 million plastic surgery procedures were performed, and that's around the world. Mm-hmm. The most popular operation performed was breast augmentation, and about 1.8 million people had that procedure.
Wow.
Liposuction followed with 1.4 million. Eyelid surgery, which I didn't even realize was a really big thing, follows with 1.26 million. Of course, Brazil was the country with the highest number of procedures. Like I said, everybody wants that Brazilian butt lift. The United States came in second place with liposuctions, breast augmentations, and abdominoplasties. So I'm not surprised that we weren't number one. That's, I thought we were going to be on the top, but everybody wants a Brazilian butt right now. So
makes sense.
To Brazil. Mexico actually came in third, and females accounted for 86.5% of those who actually received the plastic surgery. And then what I find interesting with all the talk of buttocks, 28,076 buttocks augmentations with fat grafting were done, because there's different ways to do it.
Yes.
But I think this was the safest one, which we'll talk about a little later. And all these statistics we'll link to our website, and they actually came from the International Society of Aesthetic Plastic Surgery. I will tell you, I am going to be interested in see what the statistics are for 2022 and 2023. Now that things are starting to, open up and elective procedures are starting to be done, I would love to compare 2019 to, like this year.
Right. If it opens up completely, it's going to be interesting to see. I wonder if it's going to be like a rush to like get stuff done.
Yeah, I am too. But then, the other thing I wonder is like, are they going to charge more now? You see what, what I mean? Because they haven't done,
everything else has gone up. Why not?
Everything boils down to dollars and cents. Like, I already know that. I mean, shit, the price of milk is, outrageous now. So I can only imagine how much a boob job or a nose job would cost.
There was an article in Allure magazine that talked about that being confined after the lockdown, that would actually boost plastic surgery. And that as soon as pretty much these doctors get the green light, that all of those elective procedures are just going to skyrocket. And I think that probably partially happened when they brought back elective procedures. But I know some areas are starting to, again, pull back on those elective procedures. I don't think we ever really got back into full swing per se.
Yeah.
So it's going to be eye-opening, especially, and of course, this is my opinion, Rosa, I'm sure you probably agree with a lot of the lockdowns. And I think there's been a lot more emphasis on social media. I wonder how that's going to impact people. Comparing themselves is going to make this go even higher, make this demand go even higher.
I do agree with that. And a lot of people did not work during the pandemic, and all they had as an outlet was social media. And so you had people literally posting selfies every day. And I think it probably made a lot of people that were sitting at home feel a little self-conscious, saying, oh, well, she looks good and this looks good and that looks good. And I'm not going to lie, like, one of the best things that I think came from the pandemic were the memes. I mean, like, I've sent you some that I found totally hilarious and was like almost falling out of my chair laughing. But I mean, it just tells you when you're confined, it just shows you all you have to do is talk and compare. And I think in our country in general, I don't think women are taught self-love.
No, not true self-love, not
true self-love. Like you should love yourself without, having to augment something. You know what I mean? Your worth is not your physical self.
Right. I like makeup. I will play with makeup, put makeup on. I'll do my hair. I'm not squeezing myself into Spanx for anybody. Just saying. I like to eat and I like to breathe. And I feel like you cannot do either one of those things
at the same time. No.
I just no. But
no, that would be uncomfortable.
Plenty of times, and Rosa, you know this, there's days I'll come in all done up, and then the next day, hair's up in a sloppy little bun on top of my head and get a stitch of makeup on. And I'm the same person. Like, you can like it or not, that's fine. My husband loves me. He knows what I look like when I ain't got nothing on. He knows what I look like when I'm all done up.
And at the end of the day, as long as you're okay with it and he's okay with it, I'm like, F everybody else.
Right.
It kills me. Our phones do a lot of stuff. What kills me, though, is when people post these selfies, but they add filters to it. That's how I feel like that's a type of kind of like insecurity when you start adding all these filters to make your, skin look less wrinkled or to make your shape look thinner. I mean,
I've seen people
crazy
literally show themselves with these filters and then show themselves without the filter, and they look completely different. And I'm like, this is what's giving, especially younger girls, a complex. Like, oh, this is what I'm
Exactly.
supposed to look like. No,
Hmm.
that's what people that are airbrushed on TV look like.
Exactly. So I definitely think in this country, we don't teach enough of self-love.
Mhm.
And because of that, this obsession for perfection has led people to seek out plastic surgeries in America, outside of America, and unfortunately, legally and illegally.
I thought this was interesting because I was telling Rosa earlier, some people may not agree with this, and that's okay. If you were born in America and you were a first generation American,
I am.
there is no reason for you to think that getting anything done in somebody's basement is legit.
I agree. I mean, I'm first gen American.
Like, period. I'm sorry. Now, there are people out there that are not as privileged as people that have grown up in America, and I completely agree with that and can see the confusion.
Yeah, I can understand how that could happen to somebody who's, this is not their primary country.
Mm-hmm. However, if you grew up here, you know better. Is all I have to say is you know better.
1000%.
So with that being said, we do have some information and some statistics on some black market plastic surgery. And of course, with it being black market stuff, it is a little bit difficult to find a lot of information. Most people don't want to disclose things that they're doing illegally.
Exactly. I can tell you there was no rush of people coming out of the woodworks and posting stuff on social media or on the web saying, hey, come to my place. My basement's prepared. I'll do your boob job.
Exactly. Perfectly said. So there were a couple of cases and information that we did get some. And this is 39.3% of buttocks injections, usually involving industrial grade silicone or another foreign substance such as cement. That's a really high number of black market surgery.
It's crazy to me about these butts, man. Like, yeah. I blame it all on Sir Mix-a-Lot. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. I don't blame it on him. It's just really surprising to me. And the fact that somebody would willingly use like silicone or cement, that doesn't go there. Stuff on your sidewalk, man.
And I mean, orthopedic uses that like in bone stuff, but it's used in a very particular way, in a very particular setting. Like, and I don't even work in ortho and never have really worked in ortho, and I know that. So, given I do have some medical background, but
an industrial grade silicone is not the same as silicone that you find. And, I mean, we have silicone breast implants, but they're medically for that reason. You know what I'm saying?
Encased as well.
And there are side effects from having those too, and possible things that have unfavorable outcomes. Yep. With that as well.
Yep.
But when you're talking about industrial to me means building. Just saying. So now you have building supplies and cement. So basically you have a building on your butt. I'm just saying.
Maybe that's what they want, Rose.
I don't know.
So this is another one that I found interesting, particularly because it's somebody's face. I mean, that's what we would call your moneymaker. But 25% of face injections, of course, corrected for control, involve legal or illegal botulism injections.
Well, we all know that Botox is from botulism.
Yes.
But this is the thing that scares me. And I've mentioned this in a podcast before where my doctor was like, you can use Botox to treat your migraines. Right. And he was telling me, but you just can't do it on the left side because that's where my migraines are really bad. We'll have to do it on both because then one will look, my face won't be symmetrical, that, and the third. And I was like, F no, because I know what Botox is and it's botulism. And if you hit something in my head wrong, I'm done for. So I think, and so I think people need to understand, like, imagine having, that kills people.
Yeah,
botulism kills people. And professionally having it done, there are risks. So imagine if you're doing it illegally.
Well, and that's what's crazy to me. And then you have 7.1% for laser facial procedures. Again, I don't know why anybody is doing anything weird to their face. I mean, to anywhere else on your body is, I don't like, the face really messes me up. When I did surgical stuff, I didn't like operating on people's faces. It's just weird.
I mean, it's the first thing you see. Literally, it's your first impression. Your face. Absolutely. That's the first thing people see is your face.
14.3% for liposuction and 14.3% just other, which would be like, either unspecified breast augmentation, things like that. So it's pretty good size numbers here. Like, these aren't little statistics.
Well, mind you, like I said, not everybody was coming out the woodworks. I'm sure there's like a whole lot of people.
Oh, I'm sure the numbers are actually higher.
Yes.
And most of these cases came from California or Miami. So California and Miami, y'all need to get your life together.
That's because they're sitting there out on the beach looking at all these people in their two pieces and they're feeling insecure. Well, you know what I mean?
All of these victims, female.
And that's a lot to be said because 50% were hospitalized. 25% of them died.
And that is huge in healthcare. I'm just going ahead and throw that, like, that's a lot anyways, but for healthcare, if it has a 25% of mortality, that's not good.
No, that is 25% is a quarter. A quarter of these people actually died from having these procedures. 6.3 had to be amputated. Another 6.3 suffered burns. And then those who had their eyelids worked on, 12.6, had damage, like their eyelids drooped permanently. And or they had scars, like horrible scars from having these procedures done illegally. They took place in salons and spas, offices after hours, hotel motels, in somebody's house or apartment. I mean, it just is crazy to me, the links that, people will go to meet a certain ideal.
This is just crazy to me. We've already discussed previously that if you're doing something in an office after hours, it's not legit.
Yeah, something's not right. Your antenna should be going off.
Yeah. And I don't know any salon or spa that I've ever been to that wanted to inject me with anything.
Yeah. It just doesn't, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all.
Facials, things like that. Like, I get, but they're not trying to inject me with anything.
So the
FDA did release some information back in 2017. I don't remember this being something that I remember, with it being not that long ago. But I don't always follow the news that closely. Rosa may remember this. I do not. The silicone that medical professionals use for like breast implants is encased in a shell that keeps the silicone in place. It is not free flowing in your breast.
That's true.
The only injectable silicone is used in your eye, and your eye is its own like encapsulated area. So
I can't even put contacts in. Like, I can't even put contacts in my own eyes.
Well, yeah, but sometimes they have, especially with bad diabetics, they have to remove some of the aqueous fluid, and then they have to inject, something else in there because it has to have something in there. So, like, you have, like, there are medical uses for stuff like this. Like, I completely get it. But right now, the FDA only says the only injectable silicone goes in the eye.
Yeah.
Nowhere else, anywhere else. They're not using silicone for your lips when they do fillers and things like that. Because what happens when you inject things with silicone? It's painful. It creates scarring. You can actually get a silicone embolism, which then can lead to stroke. You're at risk for infection because you're having stuff done in shady areas. Tissue death because, again, you're injecting stuff where it shouldn't be. And that's not, you're literally pushing a substance into your body. And if you're pushing it and it hits the wrong area and you're cutting off blood flow, that's an issue. And then, of course, you can permanently be deformed from wherever and whatever you have injected yourself with. And not only, like, you can go get this done and look good and then a year later start having issues.
Oh my gosh. So I watched this show, and in the show, they were showing people that were doing this, on the black market, in basements, in like vans, what have you. And when they were injecting, and I'm not trying to be graphic, but I just want people to understand, like when they were injecting these people's buttocks, you could literally see like the body trying to push the fluid back out.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be there.
And it to me, it was just,
here's your sign.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It was just crazy to me. I strongly and sincerely recommend never doing this. And even if you're considering doing this the correct way, let me just open your eyes here, because being a plastic surgeon is not the same as being a physician and necessarily like a certain specialty.
Yep.
So any medical doctor, any MD or DO who's actually had residency training can be a cosmetic surgeon, from any field. Like one day your child's pediatrician can decide, you know what, I don't want to do babies anymore. The money's in plastics. Or your podiatrist can say, you know what, I'm tired of looking at feet. I'm going to go do, boob jobs. I mean, it's that easy. What's scary to me is the amount of experience that's needed. You spend a full year training in cosmetic surgery. There's a minimum of 300 individual cosmetic surgery procedures that include your face, breast, and body. The minimum requirement is 150 cases. Then it says they receive additional in-depth training for non-surgical procedures like Botox, fillers, lasering, skincare, and basically there aren't any training requirements for those non-surgical procedures. There's no requirement of how many people you've had to, perform these on or anything. And then you get to pass a comprehensive 2-day oral and written exam. And then you have to be re-examined every 10 years. So I'm already skeptical at this moment to go legally have it done.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. I'll be quite honest with you. I had no idea that any MD or DO could say, I'm going to take an extra year of training and become a surgeon, a plastic surgeon.
That terrifies me.
And cut on people.
I'm not saying that.
What you do for surgical residency.
Absolutely not. And so all you're telling me is you need 150 cases in a year. Those are the bare minimum. The only thing that I can say is pretty much buyer beware. Do your research. I'll be the first one to tell you, anytime I've had to go to a referral doctor and it's been talk of surgery, I'm on Google. And Ashley's sitting here shaking her head right now because she knows it's the truth. I will be on Google. I will be researching your background, where you went to school, how many years you've been practicing. When I see you to your face, I'm going to ask you how many times you did this procedure before me. I am a little paranoid, and a little bit of paranoia is a good thing. Now, when it's a lot, it's a whole different episode. However, a little bit is a good thing, because you always want to make sure that your plastic surgeon is board certified. You always want to do your homework. You want to talk to, multiple providers. You want to talk to your primary and be like, hey, I was thinking about getting this done. What's your recommendation? What have you heard? Who's the best in this city, state, town, blase, whatever.
And they know the answer to that.
And they do know, because let me tell you, doctors talk among themselves, and they know. You want to review their experience. Like I said, every time I see a new referral and they talk about surgery, I'm looking at where they went to school, how many years, that they've been practicing, how many procedures they've done. And you need to be able to talk to that doctor that you're going to consult for your plastic surgery and ask them that. And you need to talk to them about the realistic outcomes. What's the benefit versus the risk in having this done, and is it worth it?
And a lot of them will also have like a portfolio almost to show you like befores and afters and like that. Mm-hmm.
And I would definitely be one of those, flipping through that book.
Oh, absolutely.
And then the second thing you want to do, because like I said, the first thing you want to do is definitely check the doctor. But then the second thing you want to do is check out that facility. Go onto the website, make sure they're accredited. See how many tags they've been hit with, what they've been hit with, what type of tags they've been hit with. Because you want to make sure not only your doctor is safe, that the equipment that is being used is safe, what's being given to you is safe, and that at the end of the day, you're safe.
And I know it sounds like a lot of work, but I mean, really, unless it's an emergency thing, this is not going to take that much time. It really won't, but it may save a lot of headache in the future.
Yeah, like long-term consequences.
Mm-hmm.
I had actually sent you a couple of articles of some famous people who have had bad experiences from these like black market plastic surgeries.
Oh, absolutely. And they've been very open about it.
They've been very open. I'm not going to repeat their names because then the next thing you know, I'm being sued for the nothing that I have. But all you have to do is literally Google celebrities, black market surgery, and you will read their experiences. And it should be enough to say, hey, I think I just need to work a little harder, save a little more money if this is what I really want to do, and have this done legit.
Absolutely, without a doubt, because it really does make a big difference. There are a lot of surgeons, places that you'll go if you have these concerns, they're going to tell you how to get that good information. Because if they are board certified, then they're going to want patients to come to them. Because quite honestly, the amount of surgeons that their new trade, their subspecialty in plastics is fixing other people's mistakes is going up.
I will tell you, I can't help it. It's the nurse in me. If you want to know why to do your research, watch the show called Botched. It will change your whole perspective. Honest to God, it will change your whole perspective and make you just even rethink having it done legally, because these people are fixing illegal and legal procedures.
Yes.
So that's food for thought.
Well, like you said, just because they're having it done legally doesn't mean it's by somebody who really has extensive training in the field.
That's the truth. Be sure to visit our website, thenursingpostpodcast.com, for our references, and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform. Share your thoughts and your comments. We'd love to hear from you. We are always interested in what topics you would like for us to discuss or be a part of. Thanks again for listening to the